Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. Matt Brown versus Court McGee. This is a fight kind of like Ed Herman versus Zach Cummings a few weeks ago. This is a fight between two aging veterans, two elder statesmen of MMA. Court McGee is the youngster here at 38 years old. He's got a lot of mileage, 32 fights. Maybe that's not that much for whatever, but that's a good amount of mileage, and a good portion of that has been in the UFC. He's been in the UFC for a decade straight, and most of his fights go 15 minutes. So he's definitely clocked a lot of time in the octagon. Matt Brown, same for him, of course, even though he's got more finishes. Matt Brown's 42 years old, and he's been in the UFC for 15 years pretty much. I remember watching him on The Ultimate Fighter Season 7. And both of these guys really impressed me on The Ultimate Fighter. Court McGee, of course, won The Ultimate Fighter Season 7. And he did so with finishes. Court McGee got 2 finishes to finish The Ultimate Fighter. And then his first 2 wins in the UFC were finishes. I was like, holy shit, this guy's going to kill everybody. And then he never finished another guy in the UFC ever again. It's been over a decade. And Court, I'm not saying this to knock him. I'm saying this because I respect his grind. He's a guy that once he got to the UFC, he quickly became one of the more limited athletes. And it's obvious when he fights, even in this fight, he's fighting 42-year-old Matt Brown. Court McGee's going to be slow. He's going to be the slower guy. But one thing that slow guys usually are is steady. Slow but steady. And that's Court McGee. He is steady. He's a grinder because he's not so explosive and athletic. He's able to maintain a good work rate for 15 minutes. He's sometimes relegated to being a wrestle boxer, most of the time I should say, and a clinch grinder. But he's definitely got jiu-jitsu on his side as well. He's a good jiu-jitsu artist, and he's never been submitted. Only has 5 subs in his 21 wins. And the last might have come against Chris McRae in the Ultimate Finale or whatever, but still, he's a guy that's pretty tough to finish on the ground at the very least. Matt Brown is not so much. Matt Brown, despite having 6 submission victories, and some of them over good guys like Tim Means, most of them earlier on in his career though, he has 10 submission losses. He's a guy that certainly has patched that up, but I'd say he's got the weaker jiu-jitsu in this matchup. I can't even tell you the last time he did lose by submission, probably to Damian Maia, and maybe that was 8 years ago or something. So neither guy should really win this fight by submission. I'm just going into their strengths and weaknesses. I don't know why the fuck I made jiu-jitsu my first topic here. Should really break down the striking, which again, I think Court McGee, he's less powerful. He's slower. I think Matt Brown has speed and power on his side and aggression. But Court McGee is still slower but steadier. And he's a guy that I expect to be tougher as well. Not that Matt Brown isn't tough, but I mean, just whatever. Your physical health is your physical health. He's 42 years old. He's been finished 3 times by knockout, 10 by submission. But still, I consider him to be in worse shape than Court McGee, despite Court McGee coming off a big knockout loss to Jeremiah Wells. But that was one of only 2 times he's been finished in his 30-fight career. He's been finished to Ponzinibbio and Jeremiah Wells, 2 very powerful welterweights. Everybody else who's beaten him has beaten him by decision. Court's been there to the bitter end. And most of the time, he's scratching and clawing for a victory. He got his best win many years ago against Robert Whittaker, a win that only got better with age. Of course, that was before Whittaker was the champion, or middleweight, really. But, Court McGee, he's slower now, but he's no less steady. And I expect him to outpoint Matt Brown. I don't think this fight is going to be on the ground too much. I think it could be fought a lot in the clinch. And in the clinch, Matt Brown could be the more dangerous guy. Well, he will be the more dangerous guy. But I think he's going to be the less physical guy. I think Court McGee will be able to bully him around a little bit. He's just got to mind his P's and Q's. Not give Matt Brown the opportunity to hurt him too much. And, of course, if Court McGee's chin is shot, which it might be, 38 years old, coming off a knockout, just because he's fighting someone 42 doesn't mean he's not, about to get knocked out here. If his chin is gone, his chin is gone. But I'm not betting on it being gone. I'm predicting his chin is there for him, and he's going to win this fight. When he wins, it's almost always by decision. Again, if he had Matt Brown consistently down, maybe he could get a submission, a rear naked choke eventually, especially if Matt Brown is a weathered 42-year-old who can't handle the grind. But I think most of the grinding will take place in the clinch, and most of the fighting overall will take place on their feet. And I'm expecting slow but steady Court McGee to outpoint Matt Brown. Matt Brown getting a finish could be enticing, but I can't bet on it. Just whatever. Too many variables. I'm going with the slow and steady guy. I'm looking to consistency. Court McGee by decision is the pick. You can get that at even money, but I'm not touching that. Like, share, subscribe, all that horseshit. Check out my other videos.